Call the meeting to order and welcome everybody to the January the 8th, 2006 meeting of the Asheboro City Council. I would ask now if you would join with me in a moment of silent prayer followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next up, we have our time for public comment. Is anybody here would like to speak? Okay, come right on up. If you would, please print your name and then state your name for the council.
Okay, I've got it on it, Ray Smith.
Okay, Mr. Smith.
All right, we live in North Asheboro, right up where the park is. I live on corner of Kenoi and Jordan Avenue.
Okay.
And we're having a heck of a time with a cannon going off. I think it's on the Swartz property building.
Okay.
And
Not the old Burlington plant? You talking, their main office up there, the Burlington
yeah, I think
plant?
it's the old Burlington Mill
Gotcha,
building. I
All
think that's where it's at.
Okay.
And my dog is, I can't even hardly take her to the park. She's so scared. And like I say, I live on the corner of Kenoi and Jordan, which is a pretty good distance. And I can hear it in the house, and she can hear it going in the house. And what I understand is they came down here about a year ago, maybe, could have been a little bit longer, but they came to the city council and got a special permit to put that thing up there on top of the building. And their reason, I believe, was to scare the buzzards off the top of the building. And I don't know if it's doing any damage or not, but there's two or three flat top buildings around there. So if we put cannons on every building around there, it's going to blow us away. And the neighbors, it actually wakes them up in their house, but it don't matter if it's day or night, it's going to bother somebody. I mean, it's just a nuisance. And my dog lays in there on the couch shaking part of the time. And one of my neighbors, he lives all the way up on the railroad track, and they can hear it all the way up there. So that thing is really blasting out. So
Is it all 24 hours?
no,
Or is it on
I think
schedule?
they got just certain hours. I'm not sure of the time, but today the thing went off. It started off this morning early, and I know it's going off around 2 o'clock. And did you hear it later on this evening?
No, but this morning and then at 2.
Yeah. But I think they've got, I'm not sure, but a permit to shoot the thing off at certain times, but there is no good time. I don't care if it's day or night. It's just not going, it don't work for us in the neighborhood. And I've got some people here tonight that I don't know if they want, Joe, you want to say anything?
Yeah, I would just echo what Ray has said. Joe Edelman. I just live across the street from him in the Parkside community. And very similar problem with a dog. Headed to the park just this morning, and it's boom, 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 boom. Really, the closest thing you could equate it to is gunshots, really. So it's very startling. And she gets the idea, I'm not going that way. And so we walk around the neighborhood for the evening. Or for the morning. And then in the afternoon, I took her out, and I was wondering how she'd do, and no, she said no, she wasn't headed that way again. So it really is distracting, and of course, all the work that's being done to beautify the park and extend it with the greenway and everything. This is just sad to see the noise causing such grief for a lot of dogs and a lot of people as well. I saw posts
People diving for cover, walking down the greenway, huh?
It kind of feels that way, like something's not right. You know, the first time you hear it, I I saw some Facebook posts as well where small children closer were real scared by it.
Is it the rapid fire like you just demonstrated? Boom, boom, boom?
It is sometimes, yes.
Okay.
Not quite that fast, but in succession
The
this
thing
morning.
is loud.
Yeah.
And my neighbor, she was telling me yesterday that some of the kids get on the bus right in the corner where I live. They gather up there to get on the bus, and one of the little kids, the thing went off the other morning. She said the kid jumped back like that. It's like it scared it pretty good. And,
Well, I know some car dealerships that we've built over the years, they'll have an owl, a screech owl or something, sound that will go off. It'll sound like a bird, but, it won't sound like a cannon, but, to try to keep the droppings off the cars out there on 64 and that kind of stuff. But, it will certainly, we can address and look into. I think, we're aware of there had been some issues, and I think we're already looking into it, if I'm
Yeah,
not.
we've spoken to the owners, and they're adjusting the cycle of it. The ordinance does allow for more than what they're doing, based on state law for dispersal of birds. It's essentially a wildlife ordinance, because we can't kill the birds or euthanize them, so they do have it's not a permit, but an agreement that they would have actually more restrictive than what the ordinance allows. But they do think there's a timer issue with the owner reported to us that he needed to adjust the timer on it to make sure it was doing it at the appropriate times and in the right cycle, so it wasn't sounding like it was repetitive.
yeah, like I was saying, there's no good time for the thing to go off, and either, I mean, if it's day or night or morning, we don't ever know when we're gonna be down there, and it's just not good for the neighborhood. We've got a lot of other noise around there too, trucks and things, and ambulances going up and down the road. We don't need the boom, boom.
And so,
Did y'all have anything?
I can say something about this too, because I've actually came in the same problem.
Okay.
I actually keep kind of data.
So you'll need to write your name down. Are you done speaking, sir?
I'm sorry, my name is Mariusz Bieliński. I am the resident of Asheboro.
Okay.
This blast occur pretty much every single day. It did occur Christmas Eve, Christmas evening, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Day. It starts about 6:30 in the morning, goes about 25, 26 times. Stops around 9 o'clock. It's not every day, but yesterday I counted yesterday 24 shots between 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. And this is totally not acceptable. This is very, I think, very selfish behavior. Everybody's affected, not only pets, but children. I can't actually enjoy myself being outside, so yeah. I want to actually say something. So for that reason, I'm actually respectfully asking the council for specific action. I want you guys to do something. You're saying that you want to actually limit this, but I don't think that's going to work. These blasts are very loud and very disruptive. And I think it somehow actually violates the nuisance noise.
Well, we
Because
can,
it sounds like a gunshot, like a very loud gunshot.
I understand that, and we will take a look at it and look at it further and see where we stand.
Yeah.
And thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Okay, thank you so
Okay.
much.
Make sure you write your name down.
Yes, I did.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just had one more thing. Like I was telling a while ago, my little dog, she is scared to death to even, over a period of time, she's just got where she don't even want to go that way. And he had the same problem today. The thing went off while you were walking your dog, and it didn't want to, it wanted to go the other way, right? And I'd appreciate it because the animals deserve some respect too, and of course, the neighbors do too. And it, with that thing going off, it's just not part of our neighborhood. And like I was saying, It's
When did it
way
start?
over
How long
on
has this been-
Fayetteville
How long has this
Street.
been going on?
About a year.
A year, okay.
Yeah, I think it's,
It was over on the meat packing plant before that, a few years ago.
Right. And I know they had, back then they had it with the bone truck up there, yeah.
but that's a long way for that
Yeah,
sound to be,
sure.
it's pretty loud, so anything you can do, we appreciate it, 'cause it's just terrible for everybody.
Yes, sir.
Well, and Mayor, I just wanted to clarify, so this is not something that council approved. They're just operating under our current noise ordinance, is that correct?
Yeah, there is a
Okay.
part
Is
of
it-
the code that allows for that. There's also a state statute that does allow for it.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify, it wasn't something that council had approved, somebody
we
mentioned
never-
that, so,
It never came before us.
right, right.
There's several people complain about it, that probably haven't gone this far, because they didn't know where the noise was coming from, and it sounded like somebody shooting a gun, and I've had people that actually were walking around the trail, and that thing goes off, and they turn and go back, because they don't know if it's somebody shooting at them, or, and that's another thing, if it ever became real, you still ain't gonna know if it's a real thing or not.
Right, right. We will
Thank you.
certainly, yes, sir, thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Y'all have anything?
No, I just, I agree with what Ray's saying.
Okay, thank you.
Should I sign in?
Yeah, come on.
If you want to say something, that's fine, yes, sir.
My name is Bob Greenwald. I live in, near Ray, and I second what he's saying. I mean, it's annoying. It starts early in the morning. It used to go off, I think at the meat packing plant, they had it, and it was very annoying. Now it's even more annoying. It sounds like I remember when I lived in Maryland, near Annapolis, they had the Aberdeen Proving Grounds.
Right.
If anybody aware of it, but that was far enough away, you could hear the ordnance going off. But this is close. And, like he was saying, people get scared, particularly children, pets. That's it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate your.
Is the packing plant still using it?
Theirs is disabled. Yeah, we did confer with them. It is disabled.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Thank you.
I don't think I had, when will y'all decide to let us know?
Well, they will go, the staff will look at it and look into it and come back and further, and I would think
We'll
by,
work directly with the property owner.
see if there's an alternative to what they're using. We can see.
I can't promise that. We'll just have to see what, they do have an ordinance and there's a state statute that allows them to do it. So we'll have to review, how intense it is and if there can be adjustments can be made.
But it is on our radar, okay? I mean, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else?
Hi,
Hi there.
Michael Wood in Asheboro.
Yes, sir.
I think it's been brought up about 8 times in front of the city council. Could we get Asheboro to adopt the urban archery hunt?
I'm with you, but
Yeah.
we discussed it, and we discussed it last year, and I think the time frame for us to submit our paperwork was too condensed. There's a lot of things to consider when doing that. I'm not saying, that does not mean that we're not interested. I know my neighborhood's interested, and I get it, they ask me all the time. It would be something we need to explore in greater depth. We did not have the time. When we had it, we reviewed it, but there was a lot of,
And I brought it up a few years back.
Yeah.
And council voted it down.
Yeah, I know you did.
Yeah, so,
I think there's been 8 or 10 of us in the last 3 years.
I
asking for it.
even had somebody submit a report to me about the thinning of the herd, and they had somebody lined up from the state to come speak about it, and that type of thing. But like I said, we didn't get far enough down the road with it in a timely fashion to be able to submit it for the rights. And the only reason, we've had a lot of turnover here too, and so it hasn't come back up. There's a lot of people discussing it, but there's also a lot of liability issues that can come up from that, and those need to be explored before we just sign off on it. It's.
You have to be in the tree stand.
Yeah.
You have to,
Yes.
we have to go by wildlife.
Right, but when it goes over and dies in your neighbor's backyard, or you have to have authority to do stuff like that. So signed authority, or they can get you for trespassing.
Right.
And that type of stuff. So there's a lot of stuff that, and you're in favor of it, I know a lot of people are, but a lot of folks opposed to it, so we need to explore a little bit more. But we can do that, and I can dig up that paperwork and, we can talk about it.
I mean, if you need any paperwork, Joey, I can get you. I mean, Randleman has it.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta have permission. I mean, most neighbors will say, yeah, you can go get him. He's on my land. I don't want him leaving laying there. I mean, he's gonna smell.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Can I ask for two more things?
You can ask.
Where they dug the water line up in front of Bailey on Fayetteville Street.
Fayetteville Street, yes.
Can we get the road fixed where you put a 3-foot speed bump there in the middle of the road?
Yeah, I'm probably waiting for it to settle.
It was patched for the winter time, so we'll have to go back and visit it when paving plants.
Well, it's a little annoying.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I've asked if we could fix the manhole at the corner of Underwood and Fayetteville Street. I'm tired of bottoming out in it.
Okay.
I hit it, dragged my trailer through it. I've asked the state. They said we gotta get with the city.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm sure Mr.
We'll
Duncan.
look at it.
Yep.
Yep. If you need anything on wildlife,
Okay.
holler. I can get you all the paperwork that all the other cities are doing,
Okay. All right.
what neighbors are doing, and all that. I got 20 guys
All right.
that are ready to jump on it. Get any information y'all need
Okay.
to get it.
Okay. That's good to know. We
I got
appreciate it.
20 of them in my backyard.
Yeah, me too, bro. Me too.
And I got
Right there with
Balfour
you.
Baptist Church right in my backyard.
Yeah, and they're eating everything my wife
I
was
don't
told they
care.
wouldn't eat, you know?
I mean, the problem is, we build everywhere. We took what they had.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, they're gonna eat. Don't plant roses, I can tell you that.
Right. Yeah, they're gone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? We got any deer hunters in here? Okay, moving forward. Mr. Bob Crumley will present the Airport Authority Subcommittee findings for the future strategic planning.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, actually, I'm gonna set my timer up because somebody told me I might have a time limit here. But I come to you today, quite frankly, as a result of the leadership of Mr. Duncan. He and I began discussing, as a member of the Airport Authority, when he first came here, the development of the Asheboro Airport as an economic development engine. As a prior chair of the Randolph County Economic Development Corp., I became very, very interested in our airport and also a member of the Airport Authority and how we could move it forward to be an economic development engine. Now, you may say, well, that begs the question, doesn't it? It's always been an economic development engine. Well, not really. Because up until about 2 or 3 years ago, when we actually got the charter changed, there was a specific provision in the Asheboro City Charter that said you could not locate any manufacturing or industrial at all at the airport. Now, Honda Jet, we all know, is in Greensboro, right? And they're developing and building Honda Jets in Greensboro. You may not know that in Burlington is where they build the jet engines for those jets. If they had come calling to the Asheboro Airport and said, we would like to build the Honda Jet engines at the Asheboro Airport, we would have told them, sorry, you can't do it. And so we began the process, we at the Airport Authority began the process a few years ago, working with the City Council and the former manager to get that removed from the charter so we could begin looking at the property surrounding that airport and look at the airport as an economic development engine. And we've taken other steps. The city put sewer out. We didn't have sewer at the airport until very recently, so it would have been very difficult to use that as an economic development engine if you didn't have water and sewer. We've done environmental studies at the airport. So a lot of things that we've been doing as an airport authority over the last few years to develop the concept of of the airport as an economic development engine. And so when Mr. Duncan came on board and he and I began discussions about this, his comment to me was, why don't you guys put together a subcommittee and let's look at what would it take to move this airport forward over the next 10 years. Let's create a 2, a 5, and a 10-year plan to move this airport forward, to really recognize the potential that the hundreds and hundreds of acres that we have at the Airport Authority could be effectively utilized to bring economic development here. You know, the former mayor used to joke back in the days when I first had my King Air at the airport, and he was truth about this. He said, my King Air paid more city taxes than all of the homes in his neighborhood combined. And my airplane never once wanted to put anybody in school, never once needed public service. Thank God, never needed an ambulance or a fire truck, right? And so airplanes are historically a very, very good economic driver for a location because they don't require a lot of the services that other types of economic development might require. And so about 2 years ago, I began I worked with the EDC as well as the Airport Authority to begin to bring in the EDC with the Airport Authority. And we began using some of the sites at the airport that we have and presenting them. Before that, if Crystal Geddes, who was the lead person at the EDC, if she got a request from somebody that said, we need a 3-acre site at an airport with runway access, her response was, I can't submit on that one because we can't put manufacturing at the airport. We don't have anything pad ready at the airport. Now she can say, we do. We've got some property that's ready. We've got water there. We've got sewer there. We've changed the city charter to say that you can now put manufacturing. Now it has to be airplane related. We can't go out there and on an FAA land that was helped develop with FAA money or federal government money, we can't go out and put a sock manufacturer out there. So it would be airport type of related stuff. And there's plenty, believe it or not, at the EDC level, we get those kind of requests quite often. So after the conversations with Mr. Duncan and I had together, I put together, was asked by the authority to put together a committee, and we put together a committee, and several firsts happened. This is the first time the Airport Authority, to my recollection, and I've been on this authority for a fairly long time, first time we've ever developed a strategic plan, number one. Number two, it's the first time that we've had county involvement in the process, number two. And number three, it's the first time that we've had the economic development folks involved in the process as well. Because with our committee, another member of the Airport Authority, Brad Lanier, served on this committee with me. Michael Leonard, the chief engineer, who's also invaluable to us on the Airport Authority, served on this committee. Also, we brought in William Johnson, the assistant county manager. I talked directly with the county manager, and he said, I want my assistant directly on this committee. And so he served with us on this committee. And Crystal Geddes was appointed by the EDC to serve on the committee. And then Linda Brown, who at the time was with RCC doing strategic planning, she was on our committee as well. We visited airports. Some airports were city-owned airports, some county-owned airports, specifically Raleigh Exec, which is called also Sanford, Laurinburg Maxton, Shelby Cleveland, Hickory Regional, Statesville Regional, and visited those airports. Now, one of the things that we found, whether that airport is owned by the city or owned by a county, cities and counties were intricately involved in this process. And one of the things that I'm happy to announce to you folks, part of our report, was that Randolph County, for the first time in Randolph County, and well, it didn't happen when I was county manager back in the 80s, and I don't think it's happened much since then. The county has said, yes, we want to be a part of and are willing to be a part of projects at this airport that are economically development related. They're not interested in saying, we want X number of dollars every year out of the budget, but if you've got a project that is economically development related, the county is committed and said, both the chair of the committee, the commission, as well as the county manager through the assistant county manager as well. So we're very, very excited about that. We've given you a 2-year plan, a 5-year plan, and a 10-year plan. Now, one of the interesting things that we did, the money comes from a lot of different sources to build stuff at the airport. Sometimes it comes from the state, sometimes it comes from the federal, and of course, it obviously comes locally as well. We don't know from year to year what the feds or the state is going to be looking at. For example, one year they may be saying, we've got money to build terminal buildings, and we definitely need a new terminal building at this airport. And we've applied for multiple grants the city has to get a new terminal building at the airport. But they may also, next year they may be saying, we're putting money to strengthen runways. So we've got extra money to strengthen runways. So as you look at this report on a 2-year, 5-year, and a 10-year basis, we didn't rank them in order. We want this one first, we want this one second, we want this one third, with the exception being the terminal. We definitely need a new terminal. We don't have quarters for pilots. We're getting a lot of jets traffic into the airport now, a whole lot more than we used to because of Toyota and because of Ross. And when those jets come in, those pilots are generally coming from far away. They need a place to rest. We don't have that really available for them at this airport. There's other things with the airport that we need as well. We're intricately working again with the EDC to take the land that we do have and present it to folks to do. But one of the things we're going to need to do very, very quickly is we're going to need to get some of this land pad ready. One of the things that I've seen since I've been on the EDC for over 6 years and served as chair, immediate past chair, was when I first started with the EDC, companies were willing to wait a little time. They would come in, they were willing to wait. They just, if the piece of land's available, if you got water and sewer, if you don't have it right up to it, how long is it going to take water and sewer to get there? If there's trees growing on the land, it's okay. They can see through the trees. Not today. Is it pad ready? Am I ready to scrape off the top inch or 2 or 3 inches of new topsoil that's created by the new grass we sowed, and am I ready to start construction? If we don't have that, it's almost impossible in today's environment to get folks to come on board. And the environmental work that we have to do and the grading work we have to do to get those things pad ready are very, very critical. The last thing I'll mention, because I know my time is somewhat limited, obviously and clearly, everybody on our committee and the airport authority agrees the number one need that we have out there is this new terminal building. The current one is, what, 45, 50 years old? It's not built for the current modern stuff and the way that we fly, and we need to make that change. The second thing that we really need more of out there are T-hangars. Now, T-hangars are a hangar that a small private airplane can be put into. And generally, the hangar is just big enough for one airplane, like a Cessna or a Piper or a Cirrus or something like that. Generally a 4-seater, maybe a 6-seater airplane, but it's not a big one. Why do we need those? Right now, we have a waiting list, and we've had a waiting list for probably 3 years of 30 to 50 airplanes, people that want to leave Guilford County and Alamance County and put their airplanes in Randolph County, and partly because our fuel might be cheaper and our taxes might be cheaper. And so we definitely need those T-hangars. We could fill those T-hangars up with airplanes that would automatically drop to the city's bottom line in terms of revenue producing from the tax revenue from those airplanes, the fuel sales, along with all of the other sales that would normally be with an airplane. So those are our big ones. I'm open to ask some questions. I'm just about 4 seconds over my 10 minutes, but I want to leave you with a couple of things. Having been on the airport authority for a long time and know where we came from a standpoint of we can't build anything out there if it's not just a hangar, to the place we are now where we've got the Economic Development Corporation for Randolph County, the county, all the folks are working together that say we have a unique opportunity here in Randolph County now to take this asset that the city has invested in so much money in for so many years and really turn it into an economic engine for this city and for the county. And so we offer this up to you. The committee presented it to the board, to the airport authority. It was approved unanimously by the airport authority to come to you for your review and acceptance if you so choose, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Questions?
How many commercial landings do you do a week, month?
It depends on the time of year that we have, but we can have anywhere from, on a bad day, maybe none, to hundreds per week. The key thing that we look at is where are these planes coming from and what types of planes are they? If it's somebody that's flying from Siler City to Asheboro just for fun to land and doesn't buy any fuel and doesn't do anything, okay, that's a landing. But what we really want are those jets that come in, because generally when they're coming in, they're buying fuel, and that fuel tax, is of value to us. We also know that they're bringing generally folks that are looking at stuff here in Randolph County and in Asheboro, so they're bringing potential economic development. And we've sent statistics to the city over the years, but I will tell you that the jet traffic has probably tripled at the Asheboro Airport since we got Toyota. The other thing I will tell you is there are things called precision approaches. It's what a pilot uses if there's bad weather. Can I land the plane if I've got cloud level? For the way we were before at the airport, you couldn't, because we didn't have a precision approach. So we now have a GPS precision approach at Asheboro Airport, and that allows us to bring in planes even in bad weather. I will tell you, on my plane many times, I had to circle, couldn't land, and had to go to Greensboro just simply because we didn't have a precision approach. Now we do. So 0 to, in some good weeks, maybe 50 to 100. We're used with ATP, which is one of the big schools out of Charlotte that teaches airline pilots and other commercial pilots. They're using our airport a lot. The military uses our airport a lot. One of the things in here that we want to do is strengthen the runway. If we can strengthen the runway and make it a thicker, stronger runway, we don't need it wider and we don't need it longer, but we need it stronger. If we do that, then we think we have a real opportunity to get more commercial not airlines, but more commercial traffic, and also military traffic as well. The military traffic is really somewhat limited because we just don't have the poundage capability on the runway.
What's the life of the runway right now left?
We've got it, I think we've got it in the 5-year plan, if I recall correctly, that right now, I mean, the runway's in great shape. We've got new lighting system, new LED lighting. So the runway's in great shape. It can go the way it is. The question is, do we want bigger jets? Do we want the G4s, the G5s that can fly from California to here and land, but they need a strong runway to land. And we put that, I believe that's on the 5-year plan. So it's not one of those things that we need to do tomorrow. If as we say, what we would recommend spending the money on now is the terminal building, T-hangars, and then the next thing is to start getting more of these sites pad ready. That would do more and to get us to a place where we can drive that economic engine.
Are these T-hangars on a month-to-month or on a yearly lease?
Yes, usually on a year lease. Most of them are a year lease. Sometimes the leases are longer. One of the things we want to do at the airport, we have no availability for overnight hangars. So for example, if you have a really nice aircraft and you fly into Asheboro and they've got a hailstorm that they say may be coming in, or a thunderstorm that could have hail in it, we really don't have any place to put your airplane, whether that is a Cirrus airplane like I had, or a Piper or a Cessna, or whether it's somebody's jet. And so we need to do that as well. My recommendation, and I think, and we've talked about it at the Airport Authority, that if we get additional T-hangars, we want to start reserving maybe 10% of those for overnight traffic. So you're not getting a monthly, but when you do the overnight, you can get a bigger buck for the overnight.
So what do you anticipate, 25?
Do what now?
How many T-hangars do you anticipate?
Let's see, the current T-hangars, Michael, do you remember the current one that we were looking at building? It would house what?
10.
10?
It's 10.
10.
We've got it set up where there's actually 3 parallel, and each one, I think, was 1.2 million apiece.
1.2 million for 10 hangars. Yeah, part of what and it's really funny because, Mr. Mayor, having done a little bit of development and priced concrete and steel, when you start pricing concrete at an airport, it's a completely different animal than when you're pricing concrete to go in a shopping center. And some of the FAA requirements, I mean, Mr. Duncan is nodding his head, some of the FAA requirements are really crazy. So you sit here and look at a building that could house 10 airplanes, 10 small airplanes, and you go, why should it cost $1.2 million? It's really built a lot stronger than a lot of other stuff would be built.
It's a 50 to 60-year structure.
Yeah, it's a lot more expensive. But we could, if all 3 of these T-hangars were approved by the city council and built simultaneously, we would have them all filled by the time they're built.
And what's a typical lease at today's money?
In today's money,
Yes.
$300 to $400 a month. We've been in discussions about modifying the way we do it, we being the Airport Authority. I'm in favor of looking at the cost per month plus the tax revenue, and do a combination of those two and get it at a higher dollar amount. For example, if you buy a brand-new airplane that costs $500,000 and you put it in the T-hangar, and I have a 1964 Cessna 150 that's a $30,000, I'm paying no taxes. The other guy's paying a lot of taxes. And so what we want to do is we want to encourage $500,000 airplanes, not $50,000 airplanes. And so using a combination of dollars per month plus tax revenue to come up to a blended rate is one of the things that we're going to go after. And we think we've got enough demand that we can do that and not miss a beat.
Thank you, Mr. Drummond.
This is great information, Bob.
Thank you.
Thank you for the work. I mean, we've certainly tried to make purposeful decisions
Yeah.
these last few years about the investments that we've made in the airport.
Absolutely.
And this is great information to help us as we make
Absolutely.
decisions moving
It was
forward. So
great,
thank you.
great to work on it, and kudos to the people that worked with us on the committee. I mean, this committee, we've all been part of committees that don't work or very rarely work, or
2 or 3 do.
this committee worked. And quite frankly, again, the city manager was so involved in this process with us in terms of giving us advice on a lot of the airports that we visited were airports that he was knowledgeable about in his prior jobs. And so it allowed us to go. And Linda Brown had about a 6-page list of questions. I mean, we just got a lot of great information. So, thank you.
Thank you.
you.
Appreciate your help on it.
Absolutely.
I was thinking when you've been here before and you talked, it was a while back.
Yeah.
When you first got on the airport authority and you were looking at a new terminal.
Right.
building. And I remember distinctly you talking about the $100 hamburger.
Yeah, yeah.
And now when I go out to eat, I get it. And I don't even have to fly.
Yeah, it's really funny. Yeah, it's really funny. It is. We're one of those things that people don't know exist. Just parenthetically, when that article came out, when we presented the very first terminal a few years ago, I actually had people in Asheboro go, "We have an airport?" Yes. It has a paved runway? Yes. And so, it's been a great thing to watch it develop over the years. And I don't want to leave the impression at all that the city has not supported. It has. I mean, putting sewer out there was no small feat. Getting it ready, and we're at that cusp now. We really need to, from our standpoint, Randolph County and Asheboro are at a unique place with Toyota, with Ross, with the other stuff that's coming in, with the development of some of our existing industry that's newer industry than textiles and furniture. We really have the opportunity by investing strategically in these economic development projects to really replace a lot of what we lost over the years, according to 60 Minutes.
Nice to see the county at the table.
Yes.
That excited me, quite frankly. The best recollection is that the county agreed at one time to help, and they paid part of the fence that's around the airport. And the county had never been involved. And so there's a new dawn at the county, and I think it's exciting. And I think, they are ready and willing to look at projects and to assist in funding those projects.
Good.
Do you have some ideas, in visiting these other airports, do you have some ideas of what type of terminal building you would like?
The one thing that we got from everybody is build bigger, a lot bigger than you think you need, because you're building a building that's going to be a 40 or 50-year building. Now, the original building that we actually proposed originally was about 22,000 square feet. It included a restaurant in it for the $100 hamburgers, and it also included a Hall of Fame hall for the Hall of Fame that we have with the there. But it's also very, very expensive to build that type. So this one has been pared down significantly, would work. We still look at the issue of could we make it 2-story and basically not develop the bottom story, but quite frankly, if we can get the funding, the grants to fund the bulk of the one that we have now, will it last us for 50 years? Will it last us for a good 30 to 40? Yeah, I think so. And will it provide us the things that we need assuredly for the next 10 to 20 years to be competitive? Absolutely. I mean, in terms of the size, the meeting rooms, there's a lot of corporate people that fly in a jet, and they don't want anybody to know they're here. And so they don't want to go traipsing around town and people go, who are these people? So if they can meet at the airport in a conference room that's private and have their meeting and nobody know they're here and they get back on their jet and leave, they may make a decision to come here a lot easier than that they have to traipse around. Sometimes they may be coming to Asheboro, they'll fly into Siler City or they'll fly into Burlington because they don't want anybody to know that they're actually looking to come to Asheboro. And so just having meeting rooms at the airport and a place for the pilots to rest and to shower, those types of things would be very helpful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Melody Varner. Melody is with the tourism market, is she the tourism marketing coordinator with the Heart of North Carolina Visitors Bureau, and she's going to give us her 2024 annual report.
Well, good evening. I appreciate the time tonight to present our 2024 annual report. Just to repeat, and those who may not know, it is 2024 as we report our annual report a year later due to when we receive our state tourism numbers. But this will be highlighting the significant impact and community impact of the tourism industry in Randolph County. So starting with the 2024 economic impact numbers, the tourism industry continues to be a powerful economic engine for our county, generating substantial tax revenue and supporting local jobs. Tax savings for residents. Each Randolph County resident benefited from the tourism industry and received $93.48 in tax savings in 2024. Total revenues. State tax revenues totaled $8.6 million, and local tax revenues totaled $5.21 million. Employment and payroll. The industry supported 1,164 direct tourism jobs and $44.83 million in payroll income. Visitor spending. Travel generated $199.86 million in visitor spending, representing a strong 5.4% increase from 2023. Moving on to occupancy tax revenues and lodging performance. Our lodging sector demonstrated robust growth in 2024. Occupancy tax revenues totaled $1,523,584, which was a 5.545 increase from 2023's $1,444,826. And these taxes are collected from hotels, motels, bed and breakfast inns, Airbnb properties, as well as campground structures. Hotel-motel performance, our average occupancy was reported at 62%, which was a 5.3% higher than 2023. The average daily rate on room rentals was $128.41, which was an increase of 2.1% from 2023. Revenues collected by Randolph County averaged $84.13 per room, a 10.7% increase compared to 2023. Overall market growth, demand for hotel rooms increased 8.4% compared to 2023. Overall revenues increased by 11% compared to the prior year. Moving on to destination data and visitor origin. Strategic data collection allows us to understand our audience and optimize marketing efforts. Attraction visitation. Of the 32 attractions surveyed, they reported approximately 1,701,999 visitors for the calendar year in 2024, which was a nice increase of 8.6% from 2023. Yeah, I wanted to go right through. Top visitor origin states. On top of North Carolina, we had Virginia, South Carolina, Florida, Illinois, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, Michigan, and Wisconsin. The top visitor origin regions within North Carolina, you had the Raleigh-Durham, Chapel Hill Triangle area, the Charlotte metro area, the Piedmont Triad area, Hickory, Statesville, and Salisbury, and Fayetteville, Lumberton, and Laurinburg. Collection of this detailed data enables us to plan for strategic advertisement placement in the states and regions that are already visiting our area, encouraging return visits for additional visitor spending. Going on to our I-73-74 visitor center statistics. Our partnership with the North Carolina DOT at the I-73 visitor centers provides critical face-to-face visitor outreach, and we may be the only stop they make in North Carolina. In 2024, our team assisted 133,827 visitors, marking a significant 22% increase from 2023, which was 109,353 visitors. For the key travel materials distributed, our Heart of North Carolina travel guide was 40,000. North Carolina State DOT road maps were 30,000, and the North Carolina travel guides were at 28,450. For domestic guest registry entries, we had 2,933, and international guest registry entries were 23, with top countries being Canada, United Kingdom, and Italy. With social media and website review, digital outreach and presence were revolutionized in 2024. Our social media presence expanded significantly in total page reach. The Heart of North Carolina flagship account audience reach grew to an impressive 503,863 through targeted paid content and digital influencers. Website performance. Our dynamic website is the heart of our marketing efforts. For website visits, we had 281,000. Total page views, we had 1.3 million, demonstrating a highly engaging user experience. And our website was refreshed in 2024, so definitely please check that out. Key website resource, calendar events. So the calendar events listings are a root source of information for advertising, social media content, and media hosting. Website statistics confirm this is a key resource for visitors who often begin their search with events and then explore our area's attractions, dining, and shopping options. Public relations and social media marketing efforts. We hosted 15 members of the media, including digital influencers, editors, and freelance writers, securing valuable placements. For online placements, that was 85. That estimated views of 4.87 million. Print placements were 13. Total circulation of 2.34 million. Television segments, that was at 11. Links back to our website was 15, so that leads back right to heartofnorthcarolina.com. And for partners featured, we had 71 tourism partners and small businesses. Social media generated by those media tours, posts from media was 147. Shares of media stories was 8.2 thousand. Instagram reel reach was 446,000. TikTok plays was 51.9 thousand. So that was a year where we honored the North Carolina Zoo's 50th anniversary, which was amazing. Also, Counting Miracles book was released in September 2024, and we got to partner with North Carolina's top influencers, as well as Visit North Carolina, to promote the Asheboro-based novel by Nicholas Sparks. We also hosted a family adventure tour that was in April 2024, and that resulted in 28 online broadcasts and social placements in key North Carolina markets. Moving on to visual advertising and creative campaigns. In 2024, we executed over 150 advertisements, and that's both print and digital, strategically targeting markets in the Triangle, Greater North Carolina, Virginia, and South Carolina. Key partnerships were Triangle Media Partners, Chapel Hill, Chatham County, and Durham, the local Randolph Hub, Military Families Magazines, that's targeting the North Carolina military market, and for expanded partnership, Our State Magazine, blending print, digital newsletter components, and new social media reel production. New outreach, advertising partnerships with the Daily Downforce and Erica Steps Out of the Groove YouTube channel, which has 150,000 plus subscribers, and that's for a motorsports tourism blend. For creative content, we did the 50 Fabulous Finds in the Heart of North Carolina booklet. It was created in celebration with the 50th anniversary of the North Carolina Zoo. Counting Miracles tour site posters featured quotes from the author Nicholas Sparks. And finishing off with final thoughts, our 2024 success is a testament to the collaborative spirit of our community. Our marketing efforts are continually fueled by our 9 municipalities and the unique attributes they offer. The tourism partners are the true heroes of this report's success. The visitor experiences they provide solidify our commitment to hospitality. Their passion keeps us focused on being an affordable, family-friendly destination, strategically located in the heart of North Carolina. And I appreciate your time tonight. I welcome any questions. We'll answer them the best I can, or welcome any comments as well, and look forward to giving you another great report next year.
I'll just make a couple comments. Just, you know, the city is really appreciative of the partnership that we have with the Tourism Development Authority. And Amber Scarlett, Executive Director, thank you for the frequent emails that you send us, updating us on things that are happening. And one thing that happened at the annual awards, there's an award named after my fellow councilwoman, Mary Joan Pugh, the Hospitality Award, and our very own Addie Corder received that. So congratulations to her, and just thank you to the TDA for all you do.
Thank you. That was a good ending. But no, we just wanted to say we thank you for the continued partnership and support, especially as we move forward with the Ag Center, the Sportsplex, our downtown area, and the upcoming expansion with the North Carolina Zoo.
And I would expect that when you come back next year, the numbers will be even higher.
I'm gonna work on that. I think with Cycle NC, we got some good numbers coming next year.
Okay.
Well, one comment I want to make is.
Yes, Mary Jo.
Olivia, I don't know if everybody knows, but 1% of the room tax goes to market Asheboro. So Asheboro has its own promotion, I'm sorry, their own money that goes to marketing Asheboro. And the TDA works very closely with Asheboro in finding out what they would like to market and making suggestions and everything. I appreciate that very much.
Yes, thank you for that.
And we're looking forward to having a couple more hotels for you to get the room tax from.
I'm working. Yeah, we're waiting for it. We're hoping for it soon. I think another great year is coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, council, moving ahead, we go to the consent agenda. I would ask if there are any items on the agenda that we need to discuss further or remove from this and pull outside of it. If not, I would ask for a motion.
Mayor, I move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Birch. Thank you, Ms. Pugh. Second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Approved. Addie Corder. Addie's going to present the information regarding the 2025-2030 work plan for downtown.
Yes. We've talked a little bit about economic development. We've talked a little bit about tourism. I think this is a great time to wrap it up and talk about how those two things come together and what that means for Asheboro. So this is our 2025-2030 plan. This is something that we do to meet some of our requirements with the North Carolina Main Street program. And our program officially was adopted in 2020. So we were well due at the beginning of last year to update this plan. I had every intention of presenting this when I was 9 months pregnant, and it just didn't work out. So happy to be here now and starting off the new year sharing this really exciting vision that we have leading us into 2030 for downtown. So there's a lot on the screen, but just a little bit about this partnership. This is a true private-public partnership. Downtown Asheboro, Inc. is a 501c3 nonprofit made up of 9 board members who are very giving of their time, their resources, and their energy into bringing new life and vibrancy into our downtown. And I am just so grateful for that board. They are not a board of sitters. They are a board of doers. And we also have the city side of the program. As a city employee, I serve kind of as that board liaison, technical assistance, and kind of administrative, how we're going to move this program forward to ensure that we are not a monolith of a program that's only executing events or only executing small business plans or only focused on perfect historic preservation. We really take a well-rounded 4-point approach. So the issues and initiatives we're bringing to you are focused around organization, promotion, design, and economic vitality. All 4 of those things are equally important to the downtown that we all love and enjoy today. So when we create these plans, we pick 3 things that we want to focus on so that we're not lost in the weeds. 3 overarching concepts that are important and are going to drive us forward. When we first started, the three things that Downtown Asheboro selected in 2020 were to strengthen our partnership with the zoo, to increase residential living options downtown, and to continue seeing reinvestment and redevelopment for vibrant small business opportunities downtown. And I think we were very successful in our residential efforts, especially because we were able to increase those options by 50% in 2 years. And that's not including what is to come with Acme McCrary. So that was an incredible feat that we had under our sleeve. So when we started talking about what we wanted to do next, transportation, parking, pedestrian mobility, that's been a big topic for us over the past, gosh, I started in 2023, and it's been big since then. So the board put their heads together, and our new vision for 2025 to 2030 is, in the heart of North Carolina, Asheboro proudly serves as the gateway to the world's largest natural habitat zoo, the North Carolina Zoo. Downtown is entrepreneurial, artistic, and innovative, activating small business and residential living within a walkable, connected environment where every step, ride, or roll supports a thriving, people-first community. That's a mouthful, but that's our vision. And if people ask what's Downtown Asheboro about, this is our statement, and this is what we're telling people. To jump into each of those initiatives, this is the action, this is what we want to do over the next 5 years. So the first thing is serving as a gateway to the North Carolina Zoo. The zoo's been an incredible partner with us downtown thus far in various initiatives we have done, and we want to continue that momentum. So one thing that we started last year with our friends at the TDA and at the zoo was hosting a North Carolina Zoo orientation for their volunteers. They brought a bus of volunteers down here. We gave them a presentation about Downtown Asheboro and sent them out on their way to enjoy dining, explore our fabulous bakeries, coffee shops, and really they can take that back. And when somebody's leaving the zoo on a Saturday saying, where should we eat, we don't just have to point them to dining establishments on 64. And these volunteers are not just from Randolph County or Asheboro, they are from all over the state. So that's a really useful tool, and we're excited to do that again this year. We also want to work on creating more zoo tourist-specific information on our website. We get a lot of natural foot traffic on our website, people trying to find out what's going on downtown. And as we continue to see an increase in visitors at the zoo, some of those people may be curious what adventures await outside of the zoo. So that's something that we want to put intentional effort behind, is connecting those markets and identifying zoo art and different things downtown that tie into the zoo. We want to incorporate Asia continent design themes in the coming year with the opening of Asia this year. So we'll be really excited to see how maybe we can engage some art or some different initiatives with stores to incorporate that downtown. We have some educational signage that we would like to install so that people can feel connected. If they're looking at the polar bear mural or the bird sculptures at the library, they can learn a little bit more about those things and how it connects us to the zoo. We have some artwork for wrapping signal boxes. This was an initiative we had placed many years ago, and it just didn't quite get accomplished on our list. So the zoo has some artwork ready to go, and we would just like to see about finalizing some of that art installation to include wrapping those signal boxes. And then this is ambitious, but we want to do it. We want to recruit a zoo-themed gift shop downtown. We don't really have anything that specifically caters to children or that experience. And while the zoo is state-owned, so there's lots of fun government stuff to explore there, our board members feel really passionate about this, have started some conversations and prodding at the zoo, and we'd like to see, even if it's not a full storefront, maybe it's a booth that they're renting in another store downtown, seeing how we can bring that connection here for folks who are maybe at the Sportsplex and don't make it to the zoo but come downtown to eat lunch and are killing time and would like a little piece of that to take home with them. The next thing is continuing to encourage small business and residential living. We want downtown to be a place that people want to be. It's a really important quality of life indicator and experience for folks. So one of the things that the board was really excited about was designing and selling some sort of downtown ornament or novelty item as a fundraiser for a placemaking grant downtown. So in the bottom, you'll see some of the historic Asheboro Women Club ornaments that they previously did as a fundraiser. And there's been a lot of interest in seeing about reviving that or bringing some sort of downtown novelty to people at home so that they can reflect on how much they love home, and us using that fund to further improve downtown. Want to continue to host our Friday night Rockin' the Park series. I'll be excited to share that lineup with you all very soon. And we want to develop an event participation metric for Downtown Asheboro Incorporated. A lot of folks will approach the board or will approach me and say, we have this idea for an event, you should do it. And we're reaching a point where we're getting a lot of organic foot traffic downtown, and events can almost be too much to manage, and we can't be giving to every event. So working with the board to kind of figure out what our key initiatives are if we're going to put some energy or branding behind an event as we continue to see that interest increase. And lastly, we'd like to continue to coordinate with businesses offering special shopping initiatives, whether it's business after hours, extended shopping hours on the last Friday of the month, sip and shop, things of that nature. They also really love Christmas on Sunset, things that get people in stores. I forgot I had a second slide. It's not lastly. Something else that the board really was excited about when it first came was the big downtown banner that went across Sunset Avenue. And that has been retired after a fateful windy night. But they're still really interested in bringing that artwork downtown and bringing some of that downtown branding. So they'd like to research a banner program and how that could be implemented or managed downtown. This was created back in May, was adopted. So the parking study had not yet been finalized. And parking has been a huge topic of conversation. There were people who were saying, we need a parking deck. There were people who were saying, no, those are hideous. So we decided that we should look into what a parking deck would look like that has a historic architectural design in the event we needed one. We now know that the parking study does not recommend that we have an inventory problem, but a turnover problem. So that's something we probably will not approach in the next couple of years, but after Acme, if there was ever thought or demand, we would just want something that looked like it belonged downtown. I love to pick on the hospital parking deck. It's functional, but not very pretty. So that's something maybe to look at towards the end of the 5-year range. We also provide the Preserve Asheboro grant program, which is a way to educate and empower property owners to pursue state and historic tax credits, which is one of the greatest financial incentives they have provided already by the state and federal government, and we want to continue offering that and encouraging that for thoughtful redevelopment downtown. And then the last thing is just hosting property owner and investor workshops so they know what they can do with their space. We have a lot of empty second-story windows if you ever are walking down Sunset and you look up, and it would be great to see those spaces used for something new, but we've got to address things like fire suppression and ingress, egress, all that fun Tony stuff. And so getting people up to speed on that and how they can leverage these spaces is something we're really excited to work on. And then lastly, we want to support a walkable and connected environment downtown. So we'd like to partner with 5 businesses downtown to generate a parking share program. We're grateful to have the chamber, and I know Adam's here tonight. They already have signage that says you're welcome to park here after business hours, and we want to see if we can generate that more with some private lots with consistent signage. We have been identifying a grant opportunity for new wayfinding materials downtown, and I worked with Nate on that project, and we got it submitted before New Year's. So we'll be excited to hear at the end of February if we were successful in that endeavor. But our wayfinding signage is definitely due for an overhaul and an upgrade after the parking study. We'd also like to design a public safety campaign in partnership with our friends at the Asheboro Police Department aimed at improving pedestrian activity and driving downtown. Some people love to hear their cars bounce off the buildings, and that's not very harmonious with pedestrian activity. And our friends at the police department are so creative with their social media posts. So I look forward to partnering with them on some initiatives related to that and just bringing awareness to people that pedestrians do have the right-of-way, especially downtown. We'd also like to develop a self-guided historic walking tour downtown. A lot of people don't like to walk. They want to park right outside of wherever they're dining at and be on their way. And so we thought, well, maybe if we can furnish something that will make them enjoy the walk, they'll be willing to park a little bit farther. So the middle photo you see is actually, Eddie will love this, it's the heritage tour in downtown Silva that they have on buildings across downtown. Something like that that gives people a little bit of education and historic feeling about our community while they're walking from the farmer's market to the Flying Pig. We'd like to develop and install some traffic calming measures that are complementary to downtown design. We're doing some of that with some planning on Trade Street, maybe adding in some curvature so people don't use that as a speedway shortcut, but just things that make people stop and think and slow down, and also look good and feel like they fit downtown. Again, installing new wayfinding signage once we get the grant funding for it. And then lastly, this is something else that is ambitious, but the board was interested and excited about it, and that's developing some sort of weekend trolley system for park and ride for folks that are maybe coming from out of town, or maybe parking is just really jammed and condensed and they have to park on the outskirts. So the picture you'll see in the top is actually a trolley system in Fayetteville, North Carolina. While I was living there, they rolled out these trolleys so that people could get around downtown. It was very popular, so we'd be curious to see if we can find private partners who want to invest in this, sponsor this. They got a sponsor from one of their big banks downtown, but just curious, maybe it's microtransit, maybe it is something like a historic trolley, but just helping people get connected and maybe grieve a little bit less about parking downtown. So I hope I haven't taken up too much time. I know you have absorbed a lot of information, but I really just want to show that the board is passionate about a lot of things. We have a great vision moving forward, and there's a lot that we want to get done. So at this point, if you have any questions or thoughts or anything in general, I'd love to hear it.
I had a question from a couple of folks. Any updates on the PNC building, hotel?
Yes. There is work being done inside. They have pulled, I don't want to use the word gutted, but they have thoughtfully removed anything that is not going to stay for the rehabilitation. We're really big on saving the historic elements.
Right.
And they are actively doing some work. They're repairing some of the terrazzo flooring, which is an element that they have to preserve. They can't rip it out and put in vinyl flooring or anything like that. So I went in there last week, and those were some of the things they were working on, repointing some brick inside, reworking some of the different elements for laundry, housekeeping, getting the elevators to work again. Those are some things they're working on currently. There's not an estimated definitive time for when they will open.
I'm a contractor. I would not ask that. That's the last question.
That is always the question I get.
I would not ask that.
So, yeah.
Is there any update on the McCrary building?
So the McCrary building is like playing a game of whack-a-mole with the railroad. There's a lot of various elements on that building that are involved with the railroad right-of-way, be it the building itself, the parking, the sky bridge, access to the property. So there's a lot of conversations happening with the railroad. The developers are trying to figure out a best path forward with that.
Yeah, there's a team of lawyers, some of which you've met in other meetings, working on that. I got an update over the holiday. We had some additional conversations. In fact, supposed to have another one Monday. They're working.
Any further questions?
I want to ask about the vacancy rate. How are you doing compared to last year, or what are you thinking, predicting?
Our vacancy rate right now is higher downtown than it has been since I have started working here. We've really started to see a turnover in some spaces, and I think right now it is really difficult for some people to jump into retail. So that is one vacancy, spaces that cater to that in particular. We are seeing some challenges getting those spaces filled. Also, anything where people want to do something with a kitchen, kitchens are incredibly expensive to build, and so there's not a lot of momentum around that either. So Bold Coffee just moved, and that space is limited on what it's able to provide because the hood vent no longer works. It can be a coffee shop or things of that nature. But so it seems that the coffee shops that are operating are doing really well. The food and beverage where kitchens are available are doing fine, but we're seeing some struggle in filling some office space that's available and some retail space. I think people are more apt to jump into maybe renting a booth from, say, the Collector's Antiques or Antiques and Geeks, because that's just a little bit more digestible and less overhead cost. So,
speaking on behalf of my wife, who is packing up Christmas decorations at this moment, she's going to be particularly excited that you're looking at creating new downtown ornaments again, because we have, I don't know how many of those we have.
I think there's eight
Eight
in
or
total.
10,
Yeah.
something like that, but they were really very nice. And in your picture, they look like they're earrings, but they're a good size
Yeah.
ornament, and they're really fascinating. The detail in them is really intricate, and whoever the artists were who created those did a great job, and she would be particularly happy if you start that again, so, because we don't have enough Christmas stuff on the 11 trees.
This town loves Christmas. So the goal is to be a good private partner and not just ask the city for funding, but also come to the table with some of their own for their initiatives. And so that's where we're looking at sponsorship packages for initiatives we have. This should not be, I'm coming to you every couple of months going, can you give me some money? So, thank you very much.
Good job. Anyone else?
Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie.
Thank you for all your work.
Thank you.
Tony? Tony's going to present the adoption of the Fire Bureau policies intended to standardize requirements for fire department connections and key locks.
Yes. I've been working with the fire department on a few things here lately, and we don't have a policy in place for FDCs and things like that. We just kind of go on recommendation. So had some contractors ask me where they could find the information when they go to apply for a permit. So I came up with a couple of policies here with the idea of trying to streamline that for the contractors, as well as making it easy for the fire department. So I came up with the 5-inch stores policy here, which for the fire department would just make everything so much easier when they get off the truck to do evolutions. When it comes to FDCs, they have to carry a bag that has adapters and all kinds of things when they have a hose that is a one-click operation. It standardizes these connections throughout Asheboro, and it matches their equipment. It improves the water supply. They get more supply with less hassle, and the firefighter safety as well. Reduces errors and delays during operations, and the configurations that we allow for commercial would be different for like residential sprinkler systems. If they're building an apartment or something like that, instead of the big 5-inch, it would be a 2.5, which would be more in tune with the residential side of it. And another policy is the key box requirement. These little boxes they can put on the outside of the building if a facility has sprinklers, fire alarms, any type of fire protection, where if the sprinkler system goes off or they have a fire alarm, they can access that building by opening this safe using a key. In the past, they've, had to damage doors, doing forced entry, things like that. So just really come before you.
Takes all the fun out of it.
Well, it does, but it also, it takes a lot, if one of the issues we have a lot, that I get feedback from the fire department is they have a fire alarm, they call the contact, and the contact says, well, I'm not coming, or it'll be an hour because I live in Salisbury, or whatever the case may be. And if they do forcible entry on something like that, then somebody's got to stay there with that building because we opened it. Now we're kind of stuck until somebody gets there. And especially if you have one that says they're not coming. And so that ties up either a fire truck or a police officer, whoever's willing to do it. So this kind of, we have these already in the city, and the folks, they come out, and we don't have to, it just makes it a lot easier for these folks. And that way they can secure the building when they leave. They can leave a note, or they can leave the voicemail that says, we were in your building, sprinkler went off, we've mitigated that issue. Whereas if they're waiting on somebody, the sprinkler may run for 30 minutes, and then you're getting water damage, you're getting all types of things like that. So I just wanted to come before you this evening to see if I could get you to approve these policies so that I can start enforcing them and get this information out into on our website, so contractors will know, they'll have a resource to go to, and that way there's a standard in place.
Are the existing ones going to be grandfathered in?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
This is new construction?
This is new construction or anything like, an example would be like if they ever did anything with the old Acme building where they're doing a huge renovation on the sprinkler system, we'd want to bring that up to the standard. But, as far as, the ones that are the 2.5 Siamese, no, it's not retro, like the rest of the code, it's not retroactive.
Okay, well, I figured it was, I was just,
Yeah.
and they would know, the sprinkler company would know when he was doing it, what exactly
Correct.
he had to have.
Right.
I think it makes a lot of sense.
So it's one more thing that would just make, it's more information for the contractors and it makes it easier on the firefighters and
Well,
that's,
it can minimize a lot of damage too.
yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So,
Reduce liability on the city.
Yeah.
And Tony, I think you addressed this, but just to be sure, so this would just be on the website, that people would access it on the website?
it's gonna be on, on our permitting portal, I'm assuming. So when they go to, apply for a permit, they'll have all these
Got it.
this information in there so they can read it. And if they have any questions, of course, they can still call, but, right now, they call me every time because there's just no resource on our website for that.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
We need to, yes. Okay, we've heard it. I will entertain a motion that we approve these policies as presented.
Mr. Mayor will make that motion.
Thank you, Ms. Heath. Second, Mr. Cheek. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Carried. Michael Leonard. Michael's going to present the following annexation petitions.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor, Council. This is consideration of petition received from Ricky Eugene Spencer and Clarissa Spencer requesting a satellite annexation of 2 pens, just 2 parcels containing a total of 2.083 acres and located along Zoo Parkway just south of the Zoo City Sportsplex, between Old Cox Road and Parkway South Street. You have in your packets a resolution prepared by the city attorney that directs the city clerk to take the required actions, and staff recommends adoption of this resolution by reference.
Any questions?
I just want to ask
Sure.
one clarification. So it is abuts the city limits.
It does abut city limits, but
It's
but
still a satellite.
It's still a satellite because the rest, what it's abut is satellite, yeah.
Right. Thank you.
And this is across basically from the sports place.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Any questions? Motion?
Mayor, I'll move that we adopt this resolution by reference as presented.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Heath. Thank you, Ms. Pugh. Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In anticipation of your action, the city clerk has prepared a certification of sufficiency of the petition. And in light of this certification, you have in front of you a resolution prepared by the city attorney setting a public hearing date for the February 5th, 2026 city council meeting on the question of the required annexation. Staff recommends adoption by reference.
Any questions? Motion?
Mayor, I move we adopt by reference.
Thank you, Mr. Burks.
I'll second.
Second, Mr. Skeen. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Next.
This is for a petition received from Swartz Properties LLC for the satellite annexation of 62.090 acres located at 4402 US Highway 220, Business South. This parcel is, you have in your packets a resolution prepared by the city attorney that directs the city clerk to take the required actions, and staff recommends adoption of this resolution by reference.
Any questions? Accept the motion.
Mayor, I'll move that we approve this resolution and adopt it by reference.
Thank you, Ms. Heath. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Swears. Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Approved.
Thank you. In anticipation of this action, the city clerk has prepared a certification of sufficiency of the petition. And in light of that certification, you have in front of you a resolution prepared by the city attorney setting the public hearing date for the February 5th city council meeting on the requested annexation. The staff recommends adoption of this resolution by reference.
Any questions? I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Pugh. Second, Mr. Cheek. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Mr. Leonard, you just got a busy evening, don't you?
That's right. I'm going to try to be brief there. Next up, we have the permanent street closure for unopened section of Mark Avenue. Engineering staff presented this at the November council meeting and received a request along with the plat signed by all adjoining property owners for the closure of the unbuilt portion of the right-of-way at the end of Mark Avenue, which is east of Pepper Ridge and shown on the map in front of you. There was not enough time to advertise for the December meeting and has now been properly advertised, and now's the time for the public hearing.
So I will open a public hearing, and if anyone would like to speak for or against this request, yes, sir, come right ahead. If you will, sign and state your name. I should say print and state your name.
Yeah. My name is Donald Lanier. I'm one of the previous landowners. I'm representing Miss Allen and myself, and Miss Allen owns the property just to the north. I owned a property that was to the, I guess be to the east, that has been sold to an adjoining landowner, and thus they no longer need access via Mark Avenue. And then also to the north, that same property owner owns that property as well. Thus they have each parties adjoining have signed off on the map, granting their acknowledgement and agreement to close Mark Avenue. And this is an area that was what we referred to as a paper street. It was initially put in when I guess it was Dixieland Acres was put in place, that if ever needed, that adjoining owners could access through that. So this quiets the fact that none of the adjoining owners need that access any longer.
Okay.
So
Thank you, sir.
any questions or thoughts?
Council, questions?
Well said.
Thank you.
Anyone else here to speak on this issue? If not, I will close this public hearing and ask the council what action or motion they'd like to make.
Mayor, I'll make the motion that we approve the permanent closure as presented of a section of platted but unopened street right-of-way for Mark Avenue.
Thank you, Ms. Heath. Second? Second. I think Eddie got you. Yeah, second. Thank you, Mr. Burks. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Leonard.
Mr. Mayor, just since we do have people in attendance, just for clarification, that ordinance that you've just approved is effective upon adoption, but the city will not record it until 30 days have passed, because that is the window for anyone to file an appeal with the Superior Court. But once that time passes, the city will take care of recording it at the
Okay.
Register of Deeds office.
Thank you, Mr. Sugg. Thank you. Mr. Roney. He's going to present agreements from firms to provide on-call services for consideration.
Good evening. So, just a little education, the Mini Brooks Act governs how we as a municipality can solicit professional services, engineering services in particular. And it's a qualifications-based process. When Mr. Duncan came to the city, he's like, so where's your on-call list? We didn't have an on-call list before. So what we've done is we've gone through the process of soliciting for an on-call master agreement, professional services. And we properly advertised that, received 16 statements of qualifications, which was quite a bit of reading, lots of interest in it. I had several staff reviewing, and we kind of ranked, or we ranked each proposal and came up, we didn't know where the cutoff was going to be as to how many we selected, but there was a pretty clear dividing line. We came to 5. It's taken a lot of work in that solicitation, we provided a master services agreement that we preferred, and it's taken a while to get these firms to come along and agree to our terms. But as of today, the last firm signed the last agreement. So we have 5 professional services firms that have agreed to provide services for us. And what happens is we'll approve this list if you agree. And when we have a project come along, we will issue a task order. They get the task order. They send us a scope of services. We agree to a price, and then we can continue with the project. It just streamlines the process a lot. We don't have to go through the whole statement of qualifications process with the advertising and selecting. We're able just to jump right in and start a project. So with that, the 5 we've selected are Friesen Nichols, Hazen Sawyer, HDR, Ardora, and Withers Avenel. And we've worked with every one of these firms. We've got good relationships with them, and they all rose to the top. So with that, you have copies. They've all signed the same master services agreement. All we need, these are 4 3-year terms with the option to extend 2 times 1 year for a total of 5. But we don't have to do that, but we'd have those options. So all I need is council approval to grant the city manager to authorize these master service agreements.
And so the main purpose of this is just really to get kind of like all the paperwork and agreements out of the way.
Yes,
So that we
yes.
have everything in place, so that if we need somebody,
Yes.
you don't have to wait a month for the
Correct.
back and
Correct.
forth around.
Correct.
Much longer, yeah.
Correct.
Got it.
And that's, usually it goes, it's all one document. You get the scope of services and the agreement in one document. Now we've already got the agreement taken care of. Now it's just working out the scope and the price.
I would add that if you get federal funding, one of the things that goes along with it, you have to have one of these RFPs.
Mhm.
You would have to go through that process for each time you got a grant. We're applying for a lot of grants. So this, as you said, streamlines the service. We already have them, and they're good for at least 3 years. And if you had a federally declared declaration of disaster, say a flood, and we lost some culverts, and it's going to require emergency engineering on scene to secure, maybe build emergency roads, we can pull from this pool and also get reimbursed without having to go through the whole process of an RFP and waiting for our citizens to not get services for months just because we're waiting on paperwork. So it really serves dual purpose.
Got it, got it.
So did these have a variety of services? For example, if you have a water line versus a sewer line, is that how you would select which one you want to use?
That's how we would select, but all of these firms are well-versed in just about every.
Probably has availability.
Yes, this is
Schedule.
going to be more availability, yes. Mhm. There really aren't. Fedora specializes, they're our airport engineer, they have been forever. They do a lot of transportation, but they're well-versed in everything as well. But
Like Hazen has hydrologists.
Mhm.
So if we want to look at hydraulic water lines from here to South
Right.
City,
particularly modeling.
you call on them to say, hey, can you run the hydraulic model on this without having to go back through the process of an RFP?
But
So
we,
it'd be
Great
up to
question.
you to figure out.
Yes.
The city manager to work out which one you want to
correct.
go with.
And if they're not available, we'll move on to the next one. If we can't come to a term on a price, we'll move on to the next one, but we should be able to do that, no problem. So,
Still offers a competitive price from
Yeah.
on these 5.
once again, it's never based on price anyway. It's always been based on qualifications. So we have to keep that in mind.
I think another thing too, when you have a pool, it also keeps them honest.
Yeah.
And you said we've worked with all these folks before?
We've worked with every one of these firms, yes.
And where are they based? Are they North Carolina?
Oh, they all have large North Carolina presence. They have headquarters that are out of state, but these are large firms, so.
Got it.
And and Mr. Sugg, maybe, if I read it correctly, if we need to terminate the contract for cause, it will be cost plus 5%. Is that correct? I think, okay. I mean, I just want to.
We have an escape, there is an escape hatch.
Yeah,
Yes,
we're not,
yes,
we have a
correct.
way out without having to
Correct,
pay.
correct. We always have
you know,
that.
pay a fortune, so, that's the contractor for me, sorry, if I'm looking for a way out.
So did you choose 5, because that's a good number?
Like I said, we weren't sure where it was going to land, but the way they scored, those 5 were pretty equal, so that's where we drew the line. There were 2 that were just right there, but that was too many.
And you feel like the services that they offer would cover most of what?
Yes, it should cover everything we need, yes. Thank you.
I know. I don't want to like
Should.
jinx anything.
Unforeseen circumstances.
Yeah. Okay,
Any other questions?
we're looking for a motion to accept.
To grant Mr. Duncan the
To
authority
authorize,
to
yes, to authorize city manager, gotcha.
execute the documents, the agreements.
Mayor, I'll make that motion that we approve the city manager executing these agreements for on-call engineering services with the firms as presented.
Thank you, Ms. Heath.
Second.
Second, Ms. Pugh, thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Thank you.
Ms. Reeves.
Good evening. In your packets is an ordinance to amend the Water and Sewer Fund. This is for professional services, for administrative and consulting services, for planning and funding applications, grant applications, loan applications, a variety of different things that this, an agency can help us with. The proposal was included in the online packets. It is not specifically included in the, I just learned it's not included in your packets that are at your desk, but we do have copies if you want to see copies of the proposal. The retainer for services and applicable administrative costs, travel, and ancillary expenses during the period of January of '26 to June of '26 is estimated about $18,000. This budget amendment allocates funding for that. Mr. Duncan has worked with this company or interviewed this company.
We've
and
interviewed them, yeah. I've not-
interviewed
they
with
came
this
highly
company.
recommended to us by another city.
And feels that they would be an asset to our operation and assisting us with funding things that we have going ahead. Additionally, covered in this application, in this ordinance is just moving money from the wastewater treatment plant department to the water treatment plant for funding for the GIS grant that you guys approved last month. The funding was not specifically allocated in the water fund and for the water treatment plant, and Michael Roney had found some money in the wastewater treatment account fund that was not specifically allocated out, and requested that I move it. Since it's between departments, it is something that has to go to council, but that part is not a new allocation of funding. It is just moving within the departments. Any questions?
Mayor and council, I'll also add that the reason we look at this firm is they specialize in water and sewer, large-scale water and sewer projects, which we need, and industrial sites. That's where they've got a great success rate in the eastern part of the state, developing industrial parks and getting utilities for older cities such as us. So, and they came highly recommended. I've met with them multiple times, and we're constantly sending in information. They've been I have to say, a bear to feed, because they're asking for more and more information to get ready for applications for extensive, large-scale projects. So we look for good things for them, and Nate, part of his job is making sure that staff get everything to them in a timely manner, sits on top of that. So far, I've been very pleased with the interaction. They've been here, visited, looked at different projects for us around the city.
And this contract is for January to June for this year, because we can only allocate funding for the current year. It is a 3-year contract. It takes time to kind of get these things started, and you just so we will include funding for the future year's contract in the budget that will come before you in future years. I recommend adoption by reference.
Do we anticipate the price to remain? This is a 3-year contract.
This is a retainer, and so what you would see is if they successfully get a large grant, then there's an administrative fee that comes out of that grant with it. So
Okay.
it would be more funding, but this would be just steady applications going in and working on our behalf.
Okay.
information ready. But yes, they would be paid more, but not direct funds from us. It would be paid for the grant administration proceeds from the grant.
Would go to them. Got it.
Any other questions? Do we have a motion to adopt by reference?
Mayor, I'll move that we adopt by reference the ordinance to amend the water and sewer fund as described by staff.
Second. Thank you, Mr. Burks. Second by Mr. Cheek. Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Nuttall.
Just got word that the temperature was about to freeze everybody out in here, so
I think it feels
now been
good.
adjusted.
You know I feel good.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The manager's office has been discussing with our city leadership team how we can improve the way that we manage special events, parade requests, temporary street closures. You all know that we see a lot of these and seeing more and more of them over time. And these are things that are occurring on public property or city-owned property or requests to use that property. As I said, over the years, we've seen growing interest in these type of requests from organizations and businesses that seek to utilize these public spaces. Most often in the downtown area. We do get requests elsewhere, but the bulk of these requests are in the downtown area. And they involve a lot of innovative proposals, different ways to use these public spaces. I'll say that we looked in this last summer. It's not uncommon for us to have between 3 to 6 kind of large-scale events each month that seek either a parade permit or a temporary street closure or some sort of use of public space. These are events can do a lot for the downtown community, bring commerce and bring visitors to the downtown, bring cultural opportunities that might not otherwise happen. But they also come with cost, and both in terms of dollars, there's a fiscal cost of managing all these events, and there's also a cost based on the demands it places on the city staff. The reality today is that we have to plan for and prepare how we manage these events, particularly the larger scale events in public spaces, a lot differently than we had to 20 years ago or even 10 years ago. It's just a much different planning and safety profile that we have to put in place. Years ago, we could probably support a 5K or some sort of street festival just with a few police officers, maybe a standby paramedic, or a single public works crew that's ready to go to clean up afterwards. But today, these events require just a lot more dynamic safety planning, and it involves a ton more resources here from the city. Costs to plan for these type of and manage these type of events range between a few $1,000s upwards of more than $15,000, depending on the footprint and the duration of these type of events. Oftentimes, the city is relying on our same employees and same people to help staff these type of events, and we're asking our folks to step up and agree to work special hours, a lot of times on the weekends, a lot of times outside their normal shift, sometimes over holiday weekends. Not surprisingly, that puts some stresses on our people and our departments, and it's something that we've just become increasingly sensitive to as the interest in our great community has grown. So in order to address these challenges and those that we feel that we can address through policy or code, we have put together some changes that I'll highlight here, and we're asking the council not necessarily to adopt anything this evening, but to give us the authority to pursue the changes that I'll mention here. Maybe the most important change that we're asking the council to authorize us to pursue implementation for is to require more lead time from event organizers looking to do something in the downtown or utilizing a public space. Right now, the city code only requires, I think it's 14 days of notice. So it's very minimal notice for somebody that wants to put on do a temporary street closure or do some sort of special event. By code, if they give us 14 days, and if we practically can make that work, the code directs us to do so. And it's getting more difficult to manage based on that time frame. So we're asking for some additional time to be provided to us so that we can properly plan and coordinate. We're also going to be asking for some additional, with your permission, going to be asking for some additional information from event organizers. Our current parade permit application, or what we use for temporary street closures or special events, is a single-page application. It's very basic. Thankfully, folks have been very accommodating and working with us for the most part when we try to get and seek additional information to safely manage these events. But we'd like to, on the front end, as we're talking with folks and people are getting information from our website who are contemplating an event, we'd like to get more information on the front end from folks as they're making a decision too, whether they should invest the time and money to try to put some sort of special event on. We'd like to clarify when and how additional law enforcement services need to be secured. And usually that's if there's alcohol sales proposed, or if the anticipated crowd associated with the event is what's considered a mass gathering, then we are supposed to be looking for additional security measures to be put in place. And part of that should and can include participation from the event organizer to help us ensure that security is in place. Lastly, we'd like to institute a reasonable event fee based on the footprint and the demand that the event is placing on city resources. We're talking about something pretty minimal. If you take into account the cost that I just told you earlier, we're looking at somewhere from between $300 for a very small event, upwards of maybe $800 for a multi-block special event would be what our recommendation would be to cover some of the costs that go into us managing these type of events. And we recognize that there's a lot of organizations out there that have, for many years, put on special events and plan and kind of rely on that for their operations. And so being sensitive to that, we would recommend not instituting any changes right away. We would propose to do this sometime in fiscal year 26-27, give us time to make contact with prior event organizers, let them know what the new policy requirements are and will be, and give them time to program any additional cost into their planning. And part of being here talking about this with you here this evening is hopefully this information will get out there publicly. We've been talking with Ms. Corder so she can relay this potential for some changes coming to her board and the downtown merchants. And our hope is that we can begin to start using this new process and application over the next couple months, just as to work out any kinks, any bugs, make sure we're getting it right before we launch into implementing this new policy sometime in the next fiscal year. So again, this evening, not asking for anything other than consensus for you to authorize us to take the necessary steps to prepare the policy and code amendments that would be necessary to implement these changes.
Any questions?
Well, I think I've been a user of this service, and I think it's a really good idea. Things have changed quite a bit, and there seem to be more events, and with kind of the safety issues in our country and in the city, there's more security things that have to be done. You think you used to be able to have a 5K race and there wasn't any problem. Now you really have to think about the different things different aspects of it. So I think I support this. I think that it is a better way and a more professional way of dealing with all these events and making sure that the event organizer has thought through this and provides the information that the city needs. So I think this is a very good idea.
Yeah, having a more robust application process, I think, is gonna be really helpful, because it's gonna force people to think through what they're doing. And, I mean, I'm sure all of us have had comments from people just who have noticed the, improved safety measures that we've put in place, and that people really appreciate that. And I am 1,000% behind this. It just seems like the last year or two, there's just been this tipping point of things going on. So I'm thrilled to see this, and I also appreciate the attempt to educate people, and we're gonna take our time with this so that people know what's going on. So thank you for all the work on this.
Absolutely.
I think the biggest request that staff will have of council is to back up staff, because there'll be somebody we'll have to turn down. When they come in and say, oh, we're gonna have an event next weekend, we can't
No.
prepare, we don't have the staff, there's already other events in place, and they're gonna be somebody influential, or somebody says, well, this is a fundraiser for, poor blind children or something. They're gonna give you every excuse in the world, and those are the ones we're gonna have to say, no, it is simply too taxing. But if you'll go ahead and start preparing now for your event 3 months from now or a year from now, that's when you're gonna get the pressure. And just be advised that that's when we're gonna need you the most.
We're gonna have, oh, sure. We're gonna have people who've been doing events for years, and we've always done it this way.
That's exactly right.
We're gonna have to, thank you for being proactive on this.
We're going to do our best to let this not be a surprise to folks.
I think 30 days is long enough, maybe 45 a bit.
Some of it depends on the size of the event, if it's a multi-day event, obviously that takes more time. I will tell you, if you are looking to do something on a state-maintained highway, they require at least 90 days of notice. And so what I would anticipate is us asking for at least 30 days for something that's city-maintained, or we have city responsibility on. We're going to encourage much more than that. I think 100 days is probably if you're doing a new event that we have never worked with you and you don't know what our system is and we don't know anything about your event, 100 days is probably the right timeframe for us to get all the information we need and to prepare. I would expect, though, at minimum, what we are going to tell folks is that it's at least 30 days. And then there may be times where you get us an application and due to other events or other demands on our resources, we may still have to say, we can't make it work, but here's an alternative. And we've had to do that in other instances. But I would say 30 days at least, and with a preference for much more time than that.
And just remember, when these are around a holiday, then you're looking at not overtime, but double time and a half. So it's a big expense to the city.
$800. That's about 45 minutes.
That's about right, yeah.
45 minutes.
So we're looking at starting to charge for these events.
Yes, sir. And we do, if you are renting Bicentennial Park, there already is a fee for that. If you are doing a race through the downtown area, Recreation has a race fee. But if all you are asking to do under today's rules is to do a street closure and do some sort of, half-day festival, there presently is no charge. Even if you wanted to do multi-block, right now, we don't have a codified rate for that.
Very generous community.
Good move, good move.
And you just need a consensus.
Just looking to make sure there's no objection to us.
Good?
proceeding.
Good. Everybody
Yes.
good?
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, 13B is also my item, so I'll move right into this. This is the review of a proposed parking plan for Peachtree Street. I previously discussed this at the November 6th regular meeting of the board. Got new board members here, so I'll kind of just refresh everyone. We were asked to develop a parking plan at that November regular meeting in response to the information that we discussed at that time. Some of you may remember, there was a communication that the city received from a resident of the Peachtree neighborhood asking us to take some action to improve safety on Peachtree Street. We talked to the police department, engineering, code enforcement, all as well about this. If enacted, the parking plan that's on the screen and that we are proposing would still allow parking on the west side of Peachtree Street. And remember, we are only looking at the segment from essentially the railroad track on Peachtree Street to Chestnut Street. That's where we've had the complaints and have had some issues with parking on both sides of the street, choking down that street and making two-way vehicular traffic somewhat difficult. And so if adopted, this parking plan, again, would allow parking on the west side of Peachtree Street from the railroad to not approximately, 270 feet from the center line of the Chestnut Street intersection. It would prohibit on-street parking on the east side of the street. This would serve to preserve, again, adequate two-way traffic while still providing opportunities for parking on the street within the block. It is a fairly wide road. We do have the ability to accommodate on-street parking there. What's difficult is if we're seeing it on both sides of the street, that is presenting some problems. And we've had some visibility issues at the Chestnut Street intersection. So if the council is agreeable to this, we will institute a prohibition close to that intersection and then restrict it on the east side of Peachtree Street going forward. This evening, we wanted to show you that parking plan. There's not an ordinance. The city attorney wanted to make sure that the council was comfortable with this proposal. If you are, at the next meeting, this would be placed on the consent agenda for your consideration.
Has it been discussed with the guy, the car dealer?
We have had conversations with the business owner there about, particularly about the visibility.
His car was full of things.
Yeah, and in fact, if you go out there today, you'll see there has been some paint put down to identify where that restriction would be on the Chestnut Street side. So this will not be a surprise if it's adopted.
And how would that parking prohibition be illustrated to people? Signage?
Signage,
curb
yes, ma'am.
painting?
Yep, signage.
So I'm kind of new to this.
Sure.
So what's generating the traffic? Generating the
What's generating the complaints is we're having commercial parking occurring on both sides of the street, and it is making difficult for two-lane travel.
It's kind of like Russian roulette sometimes, with people coming and the car hauls out and you can't see around and.
So why are they parking there?
It's wide. There's not a prohibition, and it's fairly wide. And one of these uses is a car lot, and they at times have more inventory than they appear to be able to accommodate.
Okay, thank you.
Remind me of what is the fine for violations?
I will have to defer to the police department.
For violation of the parking?
Yeah, for there. What would the fine be? Do we have that established?
Yeah, I mean, it's normally just in a $5, the parking fine, the normal fine, unless it's something, there'd be a state citation, blocking, driveway, fire hydrants, handicaps, stuff like that. We go with a state citation. I mean, depending on what's being, honestly, I'm not up to speed. I haven't been a ticket in a while, I'll be honest with you.
Nobody has, have they?
And to add that, that's a very accurate answer. But if he ends up being on the uniform citation, that brings in court costs. So while you have the one amount that's small for the actual fine, you end up on the state citation getting the court costs to go with it, which boosts it up over to around $180, $200, something like that.
That would be encouraging to not park, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so it's $5.
Yeah.
I'm just, 25 a week and go on,
You gotta pay for that Superior Court judge.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So do you need consensus from us?
Just, again, I think consensus would be sufficient.
So as long as there's consensus to move forward, it'll be on your consensus.
Everybody good?
in February.
Okay,
Thank you all.
good, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Marsh?
Good evening. First, I'd like to thank you all for your support of our grant writing initiatives for water and sewer with McAdams and Associates, and bring you guys another opportunity to improve our infrastructure. So the grant that we're looking to pursue is called the Better Utilizing Investments to Leverage Development, otherwise known as the BUILD grant program. It started in 2009, and it's also gone under the name Tiger or Raise Grant. but it's mainly focused on funding projects that will have a significant local or regional impact and improve transportation infrastructure. The award amount this year is $1.5 billion total in funding, and it's due on February 26th. The merit criteria for proposals are safety, environmental sustainability, quality of life, mobility and community connectivity, economic competitiveness and opportunity, state of good repair, partnership and collaboration, and innovation. The ones in bold on that slide are the priority criteria. So any projects that focus on those are more likely to get funded. We have two potential projects that we think will align well with the criteria. We sat down and came up with them, and then we met with Metz Solutions, Julie Metz. She came highly recommended from the city of Hickory, and she used to work for the city of Goldsboro, and she's applied to this grant and been successful numerous times. So what I'm requesting from y'all tonight is an approval to work with Metz Solutions on this and a decision on which of the two projects that we should pursue. So the first project is a roundabout and a connector road at the Zoo City Sportsplex. The estimated cost is about $20 million. It consists of, you can see on the map there in yellow, a new connector road between Zoo Parkway and Browers Chapel Road. This would improve the mobility and community connectivity aspect, and also it could provide future residential development opportunities. We would also extend Rock Hill Terrace Road to meet at sort of a T connection there, you can see on the map. And again, just improving connectivity. You can also see the roundabout in the bottom left corner, which has been strongly recommended to us by the NCDOT. So we're probably gonna need to do that in the future anyways, but this would be a great opportunity to get funding for it. You can also see in green, that's a pedestrian trail that would connect the Zoo City Sportsplex to the site of a future fire station. We already own that property, and we plan on putting it on this extension of Crestview Church Road, which is what that connector would ultimately be.
How long is that pedestrian trail?
I believe it's like a quarter mile maybe.
I hiked it, it's a ways.
It would go behind those houses right there on Zoo Parkway.
Okay.
It's at least a quarter mile.
Yeah, so that kind of is intended to touch on the, we've heard that multimodal travel is an important part of the application, so we wanted to have some pedestrian opportunities also in both of these projects. So yeah, that's the first project. And if you want to ask any questions now, you can, or you can save them for the end, either way.
Would that just be pedestrian, or are you thinking about, what would the surface be?
I think it would be,
Paved?
yeah, it would
So you
be,
could do.
it would be paved. You could do bikes,
bicycle.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Whatever we get the most points for.
That would be to have a multi-purpose.
Exactly. And for safety, we would, I think, try and, we've talked about putting lights on that also. The second project is focused at the airport, and as Bob was talking about earlier, improving the airport can really make an impact on our economic development. So this would be accessibility improvements to the airport, as well as some pedestrian aspects and an emergency road. So you can see in red, an emergency connection going there, just that tree line you can see there, there's a hill, and this would kind of follow that hill and connect all the way to 49 so that if there was any emergencies at the airport, that vehicles could get in there faster. But also, we would like to improve Tot Hill Farm Road and Pilot's View because they're pretty skinny and a two-lane road, so we'd want to widen that road, improve the curb, and then you can also see at the intersection, there will be a free-flowing right turn. If we ever have mass gatherings at the airport, it's important to have good ingress and egress, so that would be quite helpful. We would also be Connecting to the Tot Hill Farm trailhead, you can see in the bottom left of this picture, that connects to, or that's the start of the Burkhead Mountain Trail, which is like the most northern portion of the URE trails. So we would have our own trail going from there to Colonel Balfour's grave, which has some significance for the town and is kind of just out in the middle of a field right now. So it'd be important to get more people going there.
How long is that trail?
That trail is about 3/4 of a mile, but it's not, it hasn't been fully designed yet, so we might make that longer.
Yeah, that's just a green swag. It may have to go a variety of different ways to get there, so it's just.
It's just a guesstimate.
It's just a representation. We gotta get to point A to point B.
Got it.
Yeah, and then we may also wanna connect it back into the airport, so it may be actually significantly longer to connect to that trailhead.
Okay.
And we have on-call engineers now who could help us out with that.
There is no route, there's just.
It's just like, we're gonna put a trail in. Of some
This
sort.
area.
Again, that's kind of to touch on the multimodal aspect of things, just to get more points on our application.
Well, and I might point out that that is the northern terminus of the URE National Recreation Trail. It's a national recreation trail, so that should help you with the points.
I think
The 250th anniversary of the country, and
Yes.
does that help you any, did that give you any
It
points
should.
going to Colonel Balfour's
We,
grave?
I'll make note of that. We can tell Julie to add that to our
Yeah, I
application.
mean, that was the first 250 event.
Yeah.
The
The
first
first 250 event was
Yeah.
there, so.
There's a new plaque.
So we need to
there
Oh.
dedicated
Take advantage
to
of every
250.
point we can get.
Well, that's just a historic area. I mean,
Yeah.
I think too, that if you look at the red line, that is just the swag of where it would go, but that would form the toe of the slope for all of those future hangar spaces would go north and west of that. So if you can imagine, that would be the access road for future economic development opportunities. We can't do the surface at the airport, we can't do runway improvements, things like that, but we could set ourselves up for a potential economic development project. And you could, we talked about the terminal earlier, you could do the surface improvements for the terminal, so parking, access roads for that would all be a part of that project. But, you know, the public doesn't see this project as much as they would see the other project, so you kind of have to take, there's a $25 million cap you can apply for, not everybody's gonna get everything they request. So you kind of have to determine which one is our highest chance of success. Or do you want to go with more of an economic development project, or you can go with a project that the public may utilize more, the traveling public may utilize more, our citizens? So I don't think there's a good or bad, it's more of, you know, which one you want to attempt for, and it doesn't stop us to say if we get funded in this round, which is a very low percentage that we're getting funded the first time we apply, that you could apply for this later, so it doesn't stop us. There has never been a project funded that did not have some local match.
I was just gonna ask, what's the
Yeah.
match?
there it is.
Now, you want to go to your next slide so we can explain
Yeah,
some
sure.
of this?
Yeah, we can talk about that. Also, last thing to note there, we could also put a fire station up there at the top, which could help serve the
Can I
south.
ask you a question about the yellow road?
Mhm.
Is that the present road now?
Yeah, that is already there. We're
Is
just
that not
talking.
a state road? So how do we qualify?
You actually can make state improvements. In fact, we would want an endorsement from the DOT to make these improvements to the road, because it doesn't have to be just on city streets. In fact, most of this may actually be turned over to DOT.
Can we get a DOT endorsement that quickly?
They do have a category. I talked to our division engineer, and they have a form letter. They look at what we're gonna ask for, and they bless it. And so you pretty well have to have that to get any
Okay.
further in the application process. We've had a verbal communication about what we're looking at, and he said, send it to me. I think it's a great idea. We'll see.
Okay, and you feel pretty confident about these estimated project costs?
No. I do not. Let's be real clear.
Okay.
We have an educated guess until we get in here and start really doing the design, but the application, the NOFO and the turnaround was so fast. I can give you feet, dollars per foot, but until we get into it, these are projects that we have very few property owners we have to cross, so limited cost on right-of-way exposure, and we can do per foot estimates, and we can get you in the ballpark really, really close. And we already have some design on the airport infrastructure. We have some design already out at the sports complex for the roundabout, things like that. So we can put forth a pretty good, believable estimate.
Yeah, I think it is important to note that this is a very fast turnaround for this amount of money and how substantial the application is, but you can see on this slide that it's quite important to show a consistent interest and that you've been thinking about these projects for more than just coming up with it recently. So like Donald said, we might not get it the first time, but it took the city of Hickory till their fourth try to get theirs. We'd like to do better than that, but putting this in so that the following year we have a better chance.
What is the expectation from the state regarding the roundabout at the sportsplex?
They're asking us every few weeks, when are we gonna do it?
And then there was agreement to do it, right?
There was a verbal agreement that says we will, the city shall. So at some point.
What was that agreement for? I mean, what were we allowed to do?
The amount of traffic that we generate there, we would have to either build a turn lane.
Either a turn lane or a roundabout.
Roundabout for access.
Improvement to Old Cox Road.
Yeah. And then.
So we're on the hook for that?
We're on the hook for that.
Okay.
And so at some point, they're gonna say, hey, that project you want us to approve, we're not gonna approve it until you do this construction. And then, as some of y'all have saw, the Placer AI data showed 440,000 visitors in 2025 that was unique visitors to the sports complex from 12 different states, I believe. I can't remember all the numbers, but so you're attracting a lot more traffic there than we thought. And let's put it this way, if it's half wrong, it's 50% wrong, it's to 250,000 people on that property, so.
And we have approved quite a few residential proposals in that area that's not even factored
Down
into.
the road there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And DOT's tracking those.
I'm sure. They're your friend.
Well, I mean, I can see why
Oh, yeah.
they wouldn't, if you weren't gonna do that, they probably wouldn't have approved having access points on these very narrow roads.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, really, it's,
Well, and if we annex the property right across the street, I don't think they're, I'm not sure what they're gonna want to do with that piece of property, but, it's gonna create even a more bottleneck right
well,
there.
you're gonna need another driveway, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And then more development at the zoo.
Yes.
You know, that's a major feeder, still a major feeder for the zoo. So there's a lot to be said on both of these. Nate, please continue. We're getting into the weeds.
Absolutely.
Weeds on this, which is okay. That's
It's
what we're
good.
here for.
Well, I
Discussion
just
is
wanted to
good.
make sure I was clear on the roundabout, and the council was.
Yeah,
aware
we're
of that.
obligated.
Yeah,
We're
okay.
pregnant.
So, eight out of the 9 census tracts in Asheboro, or the Asheboro city limits cover, are considered to be persistent poverty and historically disadvantaged, which basically say the same thing, but just according to the census or the American Community Survey, over 20% of the population is in poverty. So this makes us eligible for 100% of the project costs to be funded with federal funds, but as Donald said, we would be unwise if we didn't say we would match 10% or less, but at least some match to make us more competitive. Also, 50% of the total funds are reserved for rural communities. We might not otherwise have the money for these types of projects, especially at the airport. Like Bob said, there's airport grants that we can get and federal money we can get, but it'd be nice to knock out some of these long-term improvements in one go. And like I said, it's important to keep on submitting applications. So that's especially important for this round right now, to get something in before that February 26th deadline.
I think another thing we need to do is also get the endorsement letters from
Right.
various parts of the community,
Right.
people who would be impacted, affected. TDA, of course, Chamber, but others in the community that would like to see these improvements. I think, Nate, if you could back up to project, the previous one, Project 1, and they're not in order of priority, we just put numbers on. But this connector, Trevor, you're gonna have to jump in here. You've been experiencing this longer than I have, but the comprehensive transportation plan, that connector is a line on that map. So you already have a need that has been identified and agreed to by the RPO and DOT, that there's something has to happen there in the future as well. So that also, I think, gives you some points. The other thing too is that we're obligated to build, if you'll see that very northernmost point, well, that's not really north, but that very westernmost point by the side of the fire station of that yellow line, as it passes and travels to the left of the screen at the green line intersection, we're also obligated to build that. So if you look at those two projects alone, that's your match that you're gonna have to pay for anyway, on the roundabout and the driveway to Fire Station 3. So it's not new funding that's being requested. Does that make sense?
Because we're gonna build that fire station as well. But
Correct.
the other one at the airport,
That's a future.
that's a future one. This is one that's, it says future, but it's really.
Close. Work
we're-
has been
we're
done.
Committed to doing it.
Yeah.
And the feds have also invested in that, $3 million. So
That would be a match though, right?
that part would not be the match, the construction, but the road part could be the match. We would have to build the driveway. We're obligated to build that driveway.
I imagine the match has to be
Non-federal, yeah.
Correct.
I mean, these are both great projects, but it seems like project number one is the obvious. I mean, just, we've got so much data and other things and promises and all that. I mean, it just seems like that's the.
I think pragmatically it is. I tend to agree with that. My heart says, let's do the economic development project at the
Right,
airport.
right.
But pragmatic wise, this is probably your best bet.
The other one could, we could always do the second one, but, and it is very enticing to do that one for several different reasons. Talk about multimodal, I mean,
Correct.
airport. But I think we already have commitments really in this area, number one.
Okay, are we looking for a motion for this?
I think just
Or
a consensus that we could go ahead and start gathering some information, and we're gonna be leaning on the board to help us get these letters, make some phone calls. Hey, can you get this person, all our political delegation, the deputy secretary at USDA, all of those folks trying to get, or as high up as we can go with his help, trying to get those endorsements and get this done. This is a quick turnaround for $20 million. That's a big lift, and so staff's gonna be throwing a lot of effort at this for the next 6-8 weeks. And I think one thing we did mention, Trevor, what is it, the big thing Ms. Metz can help us with, the formulas for?
There's a cost-benefit analysis required with this federal grant, and it's very complex. It's very regimented, and what you have, how you need to prepare and present that. What Ms. Metz, I think, offers us is that skill set and that experience to prepare that cost-benefit analysis that has to be part of this application.
And my understanding is that the staff at Federal Transit takes that and they try to replicate it, so they check your numbers.
Yeah.
Just a quick question, Mr. Mayor. Do we need, Nate, do you need specific approval as far as on the motion question? Do you need specific approval for execution of the proposal for Ms. Metz as the consultant? Do you need that
You
authorization?
can just authorize me to do that.
I don't think.
That would be a motion that would be needed if you're going to expend money for this
Enter into-
consultant. You need that authorization. So it'd be a matter of a motion to authorize the city manager to execute the proposal on behalf of the city.
We have a motion, Ms. Pugh, second by Mr. Cheek. Thank you. Further discussions? This is just for Donna. You just need consensus after this, which one we
Yeah,
want.
we're gonna start getting information from everybody and start putting this package together, so you'll all be involved.
Okay.
We'll
All
try
right.
to update you before we submit it, so you can see
Okay.
it.
Ms. Metz has also voiced that the Zoo City project, she thinks, has a better chance.
The roundabout? Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And we're in consensus that it is number one, option one.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Sugg?
I can be brief tonight, but I can be brief tonight because it's the usual frustration with the legal department, that between me and AT&T, we've managed to narrow it down to just one point of ambiguity and disagreement, but we are, with Mr. Roney's help, I believe we are ready to bridge that gap. So I ask tonight for a continuance to the regular February meeting, where it's the anticipation that we'll have the opportunity for the public to comment on the proposed approval of the Highway 49 elevated water tank lease that will be in the favor of New Singular, which is AT&T.
Mr. Attorney, you can't retire when we get this done.
Now, that's why I've made the point that we need to get it resolved by February. So I think we're going to make that, but I would ask for the continuance.
Okay. Motion for the continuance is.
Mayor, I'll make that motion that we continue this agenda item to the February 5th, 2026
Thank you,
meeting.
Ms. Seed. Second? Second. Thank you, Mr. Burks. Thank you. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, if y'all remember the last meeting, I said, we ought to get our phones out, take a picture of this. You don't want to hear me read all this, but, we are close. Yeah, that would be great. That would be great if we can get that, yeah.
Yes, sir.
But, looks like we've got a busy month. Yeah. If you won't take it down for a while, I'm gonna go ahead and take it too, so.
While Mayor's doing that, I'd like to thank city staff and council for all the prayers and well wishes to my family. We lost two really good, long-term family members over the holidays. We buried Amanda's grandmother and uncle within 2 weeks of each other between Thanksgiving. So it's been rough, and I just appreciate all the support. Thank you.
Okay, anybody have any closing comments?
I'd like to thank Commissioner Dave Neave from Ramsar being here with us today in the meeting.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And I just want to thank city staff for all the work. We were talking about events earlier on our two Christmas events, the Christmas Parade and Christmas on Sunset, which were very successful, very cold, but very successful. And then also just all the work for the decorations. I know we all get a lot of comments from people about how much people appreciate those, and that takes a lot of work. So just thank you to our staff.
Yes.
For a great holiday season.
And I had only because it asked, the yellow parking tickets, or the yellow tickets are going in effect this month, or when, for the downtown parking?
Well, it's getting a little bit longer to make sure, because
Yes, sir. We still have some signage to install, and so we're gonna provide some additional instructional time before we move into that.
But I wanted to make sure, because I've been asked about that, and
And we do plan to make an announcement that we are moving into the next phase, which will be the enforcement phase, yes.
Okay, well, some people have noticed it, that's great.
Yes, yes. The police department, just kudos to the police department, they've been very helpful getting those out and educating. I think most of the people that have received those have taken it the right way and are looking at it as a learning experience, and that's what we're hoping for.
And the man that generates a lot of this stuff from the police department is joined with us tonight, he's back there, and, I think you're doing a wonderful job. Okay, and I look forward to seeing it. Anybody got anything else? We're adjourned.